ProWrestlingSheet.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wrestling Sheet Radio. I'm your host, ProWrestlingSheet.com, Editor-in-Chief Ryan Satin, here with a special guest today, All Elite Wrestling Executive Vice President, Cody Rhodes. Cody, thanks for taking the time to do this.
Thank you, buddy, very much.
So I'm going to kick things off right away with, obviously, the biggest thing related to everything you guys have going on, and that's Double or Nothing selling out. I mean, I feel like it's an understatement to say you have to be pretty stoked at how quickly that happened this time, even more so compared to the last time.
Well, I'm always the pessimist in the group, and it's funny because on screen, occasionally I'm the least pessimistic, but in reality, I wasn't sure. Vegas is a tough market. Not a lot of folks actually live. I mean, plenty of people live in Vegas, but you're relying on a lot of people to travel in. And, you know, one of the things that's kind of out there in the news that I don't mind talking about that's real exciting is that there was, 40-something thousand people who signed up for the pre-sale, and most wrestling fans don't just buy a single ticket. So that really put some confidence in me, or just made my heart swell up in terms of folks putting their trust in us. We want to take that and reward them. And I know it shifted, we pivoted plans on a few things because of the number itself. And perhaps in the steps we take next, maybe a bigger venue.
Do you want to actually double it next time? Is that what you're trying to say? You want to live? Well, I guess you can't double it. It's gonna be triple or nothing on the next one, so that'd be tough.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember with All In. My sister Teal is the one who, because of like the feeling of like going all in and betting on yourself, she was the one who named it. And then this one, I don't know if it was me or Nick who named, let's just call it Double or Nothing. I don't know how it came about, so I won't credit myself. It was definitely either me or Nick. But then it was brought up genuinely, like, well, that's not really the case, because there's not a lot of basketball or ice or like arenas. There's not a lot that hold 20,000 without a stage. Like, yeah. That's and technologically like superior. There's some that get close, but then you have multiple cameras and these production elements because you want to provide this, to a larger audience as well. So yeah, I don't know if Double or Nothing was the right name. I love it now. Man. But yeah, maybe we should have thought about it a little bit more, man.
It's hard naming stuff, dude. It's not an easy thing. It's like even my site, if I could go back, I'd probably rename it and not put the word sheet in it. In my mind, I was like, I could make the word sheet not be a negative thing, and that's not going to happen. So, I get it.
You're that's an uphill battle, man. But hey, you've chosen to fight it. I just have an endless list of poker themed names, so I am not afraid of multiple events. I'm ready. For a guy who's played limited poker, I got a pretty good knowledge of the names.
Are you not a big poker guy?
I play occasionally. My game is blackjack. I actually am a very good blackjack player. So I'm a blackjack guy, but actually MJF not really taught me, but kind of took me under his wing a little bit when we were in Vegas for the pool party, and because he's a poker player, so I'm getting better.
All right. Yeah, I'm a big poker guy myself, but I get too deep into it, so I try to play as little as possible so I don't lose all my money.
Yeah.
So okay, so as like this is something that's been that interests me, and that's just the creation of a new company in general. The day to day. Just kind of like building something, anything from the ground up. Fascinates me. So I've kind of been wondering, like, what are the initial important things for you guys behind the scenes that you guys are doing that you feel in order that are the building blocks of a new company? What do you guys from what you're allowed to tell me, what's kind of like the important things that you guys feel need to be done to build the proper foundation?
Well, you want to build a strong team around you. With that said, we have an expression. I have an expression that I apply pretty much to all business, is that you can't feed everybody. We're very aware at the criticism that, oh my gosh, four wrestlers are running this. We're aware of that criticism, and I think we think of it as a complete positive. We love our industry. We're all, consider this something. This is our life's work, and we put such an interest in the creative and providing, a sports-centric program. But just getting back down to the idea of the startup and the day-to-day, one thing that's really, really we're fortunate for is Tony's team of business contacts he's accrued over the years, and his team that we've shared some, folks with the Jacksonville Jaguars. We've been able to, as in the startup mode, share some of their resources. And my gosh, the Cons have just built. I mean, not only are these great people, but they're the top in their field, and they've been incredibly helpful for us. And I don't know if, as we go forward, if they'll become full-time AEW. That'll be up to us, actually, and or if they remain with their Jacksonville role, or they do both. But I've been really fortunate that these folks that Tony has as resources, and they're really helpful, and they're really into what we're doing. And that's fun to show somebody wrestling for the first time, for them to learn the characters essentially from watching the press conference or watching the pool party. That's really fun. It also is a good indication. That objective viewpoint is always a great thing. When you bring someone to a wrestling show and they have no clue what they're watching, typically the people that they walk away like, well, I liked her and I liked him. Man, that's such a good opinion. It's so, because us wrestling fans, myself included, we're snobs, Yep. I'm a big wrestling snob. So it's fun to meet some of these folks who don't know any of us, but just know that we're all working really hard. So yeah, it's interesting as well with 4 different parties. The Bucks being in SoCal forever, and Kenny being in Winnipeg or Japan, and me being in Atlanta. It's so far worked really well to be able to communicate amongst each other. I don't know if we'll ever have a central office, other than the one that I use now in Atlanta. But yeah, it's going really smoothly. We've got a lot of great resources available to us that we're lucky to have.
I like that you all bring a different thing to the table. I've seen that same criticism on social media as well, and I think that having different people that are knowledge in different departments are only going to help. Obviously, you grew up around television wrestling. So, you not only grew up around as a child, but then as an adult, you grew up around it. You've been around the 2 most successful television wrestling companies that exist. So, that kind of knowledge, is incredibly valuable. Yeah, no, it's really, this is what I was meant to do, man. This is, I loved being a world champion at Ring of Honor, and I loved being a champion with New Japan and with WWE, and I definitely am not stopping wrestling because, that's my passion and just fills my soul up. But to be able to be behind the scenes and to work with some of the same people that I was in the production truck with as a little kid at WCW, and then to take the lessons I learned production-wise from WWE, the lessons I learned there, the things I learned to do, the things I learned not to do. This is just, I feel like, I joke all the time, I didn't go to college, but nobody has a better wrestling education than me. Nobody. No, totally. And that's so evident from watching your career. You very much went to wrestler college. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I want to use it. I want to use it for good. And that's right now. I'm glad this is all happening.
When you say, you saw some of the things that didn't work and some of the things that do work, what are some of the things that you think kind of help for the formula that would make a successful wrestling television show that pleases the audience in 2019? Like, what are some of the things that you think don't work?
Well, I think physical storytelling works more than any other form of storytelling. We forget our own selves sometimes, and our efforts as wrestlers we want to be mainstream. In our efforts, we forget that we're this last form in the world of physical entertainment that's alive, like it is, and we should lean into that. And that coincides with the mission of a sports-centric pro wrestling show. We use that term a lot, sports-centric. It's because pro wrestling is live sports, whether the result is predetermined or not. It's still part of the live sports family, and I've seen some of the best storytelling ever. In the ring itself. That doesn't mean that character stuff isn't important. I'm the son of Dusty Rhodes, like I get how important character stuff was, because his forte wasn't 60-minute matches as much as it was 3-minute interviews. But even those interviews were done from a sports perspective. You were talking to your anchor, your co-host, your analyst. You weren't standing there pretending that you don't see a camera, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah.
So I'm big on physical storytelling, and I'm blessed that we have Kenny Omega with us, because he's the best bout machine. I mean, in the ring, bell to bell, I think storyteller of our generation, there is nobody better than Kenny Omega. I say that, and every day when I go to the gym and when I think about my matches, things I want to do, I think about trying to take that from him. But that's a friendly competition, not a negative one.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, you always want to strive to be the best, so that definitely makes perfect sense. And I also think having Kenny with in the company with you guys was, I mean, a big piece of the puzzle. Obviously, I mean, there's like you said, he's known as putting on some of the best matches in wrestling right now. So I mean, I think getting him on board, your TV knowledge, and the Bucks being so plugged into kind of what the wrestling fan really wants, I think. Like, they have a really good sense of, like, they have their finger on the pulse of things, and so I do think it's a solid puzzle that you guys have kind of pieced together there. Now, you mentioned the sports-centric stuff and the telling a story in the ring, but, I assume that a live TV show is something that you guys, would inevitably want one day, hopefully in the near future. Do you because I feel like I watch these Road to Double or Nothing shows you guys do, which I love, and the same one with the All In one, and I watch BTE, and they are very different shows. One's much more of like a comedy thing, one's much more of a serious thing. Do you think some of the backstage elements of an inevitable AEW show would kind of be somewhere in the middle of that for the non-wrestling stuff?
Yeah, it's a great question. We're the four of us are a band, and we like very different types of entertainment. I got into an argument with Nick Jackson the other day because I didn't know who Taka Michinoku was, and then I told him how much I liked Bobby Eaton, and he didn't like Bobby Eaton as much as he liked Taka Michinoku. And it's just as silly as that sounds, it's the type of wrestling that we like. And that's why, like, I'll definitely, I trust Nick and Matt. I trust those guys with my life. Those dudes I couldn't ask for better dudes to teach me about brand building and independence and DIY. And I think they've gotten a little from me, on another end, but I've received a great deal from them and just worship those guys. When I look at Road to Double or Nothing, I look at BTE. Those are the mediums we're heading into Double or Nothing with. And if they're working, then we should continue something in that vein. So if we get to this situation you're talking about, weekly TV, well, we want to stick with what works, and we want to appeal to the fans who have put their trust in us, and a lot of fans have. That to me is really important. So to answer your question, I can see those being a big part of AEW.
Awesome. That makes sense. Yeah. One of the other things that, I loved about All In was the over the budget battle royal. I thought I was there live, obviously, at the show, and I usually battle royals are kind of like just kind of like getting everyone out there, and it's not as fun of a match. But I really did enjoy the over the budget battle royal. I like that you're already, in this Road Double or Nothing, you're kind of spotlighting some of the people who might be in it. What drew you to, some of the talents that were focused in this last one, the Kip Sabian, Sonny Kiss, some of those people?
Well, so to me, a battle royal is a match that us wrestling, we've ruined it, myself included. We're in there giving each other these lazy ass forearms, or we're laying in the corner, and then there's these old 80s rules like don't hit the ropes, don't climb to the top. So the over the budget battle royal, the rules we presented were don't listen to any battle royal rules you ever heard, ever. Don't do any of that. Like, oh, you want to use a table? Great. Like it was different. And it was hard for me because I'm so like old school. But then it was one of the most fun moments of the night. So with this year and looking at guys like Brandon Cutler, Kip Sabian, Sonny Kiss, many more, I just want people to get to know them. That's all. We can't make AEW about the four of us. We can't. I don't mean to sound cocky. I've had a great career. I feel like I'm famous enough from wrestling. It's my turn to reach down if possible, or reach next to me, or I don't know. I don't want to sound braggadocious, but I'm just excited about presenting new talent that we have responsibility for. And when we looked at talent that we wanted to sign to actual deals, that's the thing I look for most, was the word, you've heard AEW coordinator Mike, he uses the word fresh, and that's my word. That's our word. It's fresh. Somebody who hasn't been seen, someone who just needs the spotlight, needs the phone call. And then the other thing besides that, which is the most important thing to me, is hard work. This business, there's so many fake wrestlers. Oh, I wrestle 2 weekends a month, and then I go out because that's what wrestlers do, and blah, blah. No, wrestling is every day. It's every day. And I don't mean that we're going to have a 200 and something live event schedule. What I mean is you always should be thinking of it. You should always be, if it's what feeds you, respect it. It's not a novelty. I'm sorry I'm getting on some sort of soapbox here, but I love it though. And there's so many. You got to get your reps in. You don't know how your music sounds unless you can hear what the live audience does every time. You've got to get your reps in. So I'm big on hard work. I'm big on freshness. That's why we've been going to these indie shows. It's not to save Joey Ryan's ass. It's to go and see who we're missing, man. Who's out there? I love Joey, but give me a break, man. Like, he'll save himself next time, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, you guys have been doing a good job of finding, unique talent to kind of fill out the roster. And I know you've mentioned, pulling people up to help out, but you also said something about, pulling people from the side as well. And obviously, the biggest story of the week, in my opinion, there was two of them. And one of those was a good friend of yours, Ty Dillinger, making his exit from WWE. I'm not, trying to get a scoop on if you're trying to hire Ty Dillinger or whatever, but I mean, what do you think about him making his exit from WWE?
Well, it's so funny. I'm sitting here, and as you said that to me, my sister, she texted me because I got where I can see my phone, and it says, "Are you hiring Ty Dillinger?" Which is just hilarious. But that's how quickly news travels. Ty Dillinger, I love him. I literally love the man because I went to OVW with about 3 months of experience. I was hired by WWE solely because I was Dusty's kid, and he never scoffed at it. He became my tag team partner, taught me to wrestle. He taught, he was Canadian, so all Canadians can wrestle. And he was just so good to me. And I'd love to offer him whatever resources I've obtained when I left and started my independent wrestling tour, because I went to a lot of places. So I don't think that's a conversation about him coming to AEW that we need to have, as much as the conversation is more about, I want him to get out there and be able to do his thing and fill his soul up. And, any company, whether it's New Japan Pro Wrestling or Ring of Honor or MLW or Evolve or whatever. There's so many Progress. I know there's so many great companies. Any company would benefit from having Ty Dillinger, but I don't know what the hell you call him because his real name is terrible. But yeah, any company would benefit from having him, his experience, and the fact that he once got something over. And that very few people can actually say, "Hey, he got something over on an international level." That's a limited number of people who can say that, and you can say that about him with the Perfect 10, the character, and it didn't last long. No, I get that, but I'm happy he's out there to be able to do his thing, and any company, including us, would benefit from that dude.
Yeah, absolutely. And lastly, before your publicist makes me end things here, another person who exited. Yeah, no, she's great. But the last thing I wanted to ask about, just because it also came up today, was another person who exited that you were also close with, and that's Arn Anderson. You tweeted about it, but what were your thoughts when you saw that today? Besides, I know you tweeted about it, but what do you think?
Has that been confirmed?
Well, I mean, I broke it on the site, so it's my story, and it's legit. Yeah.
So to me, that just shocks me, and that's where I'm at. I'm just shocked because the entire current top talent at WWE, Seth Rollins, John Cena, Brock, even Charlotte. I mean, everybody within the Golden Circle is an Arn guy or girl. So what that I feel like just blows my mind. Like that, I'll see where the story goes. I'll follow you.
Okay.
See where the story goes. But yeah, Arn Anderson is a gift to the industry. He's not corporate. He's a wrestler, but you cannot take wrestlers out of the wrestling business. So I don't know, man. Especially because he was so instrumental too, in like the Triple H character that is, gosh, I don't know.
Oh, trust me, I was shocked last night when I first got the tip. I thought someone was messing with me. I was like, no way. I mean, he's been there since I was a child. Like, what do you mean? So yeah, no, very crazy. I'll keep you updated if I find out anything else. All right, well, guys, that's all the time I have here with Cody. He's a busy man. He's running a wrestling company, but make sure you guys go check out everything that All Elite Wrestling is doing at AEW Wrestling on social media. Cody, thank you so much for giving me the time here.
Thank you very much.
ProWrestlingSheet.com